Welcome back to the Offbeat Podcast channel, where today I'm going to bring in a brand new series called the Offbeat Review, where I'm your host Luke Bardsley on behalf of Rockstars the podcast and also Offbeat. And today I'm going to be reviewing the Reytons' biggest ever show at Sheffield Arena with support from the K's and Declan Welsh and the Decadent West. Before the video starts, make sure you follow our socials in the description and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Just to start this video off, just wanted to formally announce I'm now a collaborator for Rockstars, the podcast, and also the City Report podcast. Obviously, if you've been following me on social media, you'll already know about this. I've plugged it quite a lot of times. But what I'm going to do is going to leave a link in the description to my recent interview with the Rosellas on the Rockstars, the podcast channel. Great interview, great set of lads. Make sure you watch it and give us some support. So for the Reytons, I headed over to Sheffield with my good friend Jared, who I go to majority of my gigs with. Got to say, unbelievable gig. Loved it from moment one, really. The supports were class. Really loved the venue of Sheffield Arena. Obviously, I'm used to Manchester Arena more often than not. Majority of the gigs I go to, probably 9 times out of 10, will be in Manchester. So it was nice to go on a bit of an away trip to see a new arena there. It was very loud. Like, my ears were ringing afterwards. The sound system in there they've got is very, very good. Also, freezing. I'm assuming it's because they do have the ice hockey player there as well, but it was freezing at the start. And the sound system was, I feel like I've got tinnitus now, to be honest with you. They put on a show, the Reytons, and so did the K's. I'm just going to talk about the K's first, because obviously they were the main support act. Second time I've seen the K's, saw them first in London, and gotta say, they turned up well. Really excited to see him again because I'm actually booked to go and see him in November. But the set list was class. They do all the usual sort of intros and moving from song to song. They always chuck in a cover in there as well. Girls just want to have fun, which always gets the crowd going. And the crowd were really supportive of the K's. Like, you can see how much the band is growing recently, especially for Sarajevo. It just went off. Like, the crowd were going crazy on it. Even for songs like Hometown, which is personally my favourite song, the whole arena knew it. Like, they were all chanting away, singing away. And you could tell at certain times on the stage, the boys were just like, wow, like, what is happening here? At one point, Jamie even said, this is the first time we're playing arena. Didn't seem like it, and I thought I'm really looking forward to their November gig in Manchester. Now, moving on to the Reytons. What a set it was, to be honest. They played a lot of songs. I think it was 22 songs in total, and it was very high energy from the start. Like, the first 5-6 songs were coming out, and they were putting on a show. You could tell that they really were giving it their all. The opening as well, they did a nice little VT before the start of it, really built up. Started off with Low Life and Red Smoke. Two absolute stompers as well. Pyro everywhere. I liked all the way through as well was Johnny was consistently saying just thank you to us. It's no label, no backing or ratings. That is a slogan they've gone for the whole career. And it really showed. Like, the crowd was very, very homegrown, I want to say. Majority of people that I met there were from either Yorkshire, West Yorkshire. There's a couple lads from Hull that I met. The Yorkshire chants were very loud all night. You can tell why. I don't think there's a lot of people that travel very far to see them. End of the day, they've got very cult following within sort of like the Yorkshire area, and you could tell with every song just being constantly limbs left, right and centre. The set list as well ebbed and flowed really well. Obviously had very high energy at the start, or very high energy at the end, and the middle part flowed really well. Even introduced a brand new song, which I believe they've never actually done before, and even that sounded good. And I feel like the crowd did need a break. There was a group of about 4 songs in the middle where were a lot slower, and the crowd needed them, because obviously when you've got 5 or 6 really heavy guitar songs, the crowd does need a little bit of a break, which I thought was really well structured throughout. I also like the VTs that they did. So they did, I think, 3 or 4 VTs of just little 1.5 minute breaks. Usually when I've seen bands in the past, they do quite long breaks, especially in between songs throughout. But the Reytons didn't really do that. They only had a couple VTs in there. Didn't even do an encore, really. It was just straight into the final 3 songs. I was waiting for them to go off and come back on. Didn't really happen. I also loved the message throughout as well. At one point, Johnny did say persistence overrides resistance, and I felt like it just summed up the gig. Another way that someone described the gig, I believe Johnny said it on stage as well again, it felt like going to a cup final where your team had already won, and that is exactly the feeling in there. It was very much a case of we all listen to the same music, we're all in there together, and it just shows that sometimes you don't need to go the traditional mainstream way. You don't need them big record deals. If you get a cult following and you're a good enough band, people will follow you. and it's shown with the Reytons. Like, I've now seen them in 2 different cities, and they've both been absolutely electric in both, and the cult following will always be there. They definitely did not skimp out with the budget on there as well. There was a lot of pyro throughout. The stage design was very cool. Don't know what car it was on stage, but they had a car on there, which I think was from one of the artworks in the past, which was pretty cool. And the way they interacted with each other, you could tell it was just a dream. Like, at some points, you would just see the band just like hugging each other, obviously having the time of their lives. And can you blame them? End of the day, they're just normal lads from Rotherham and Donny playing the Sheffield Arena, biggest venue you can possibly play in Sheffield in their home city. And it was just electric from moment one. Also, got to give them credit to the prices. For my ticket, it was £32.50 for a standing ticket. It's almost unheard of nowadays, especially for an arena gig. I've never paid a ticket as low as that recently, and it really just shows that the overall message was there, where if you support a band from a moment up, they'll also help you out by not charging the extortionate fees that we are seeing nowadays. Like, ticket prices should be capped at maximum £50 in my opinion, and to see the Reytons doing an arena gig for £32.50 is unbelievable, especially when you've got people like Declan Welsh and Decadent West who are up and coming, the Case supporting. It just shows that not all bands have to have extortionate prices. Sometimes just get the prices to give back to the fans. So where I was stood right in the middle of the arena next to the sound desk, and they had 2 very high-tech cameras filming the whole event, so I'm presuming they will be bringing that out as either a YouTube special or as a DVD. I'm excited for that. You can tell they put a lot of work into the production, and it will come across very good when they do bring out the film version. Luckily, if you didn't get to go to the gig, you are going to be able to see that in the future. I'm sure they're going to release that, and you'll be able to see how good the gig actually was. If you want to see a few clips from the gig, I'm going to be posting them on my TikTok and Instagram. I'm going to try and make a short little reel so you can see a few of the videos that I managed to take. I do also feel like Reytons get a lot of unfair stick at times as well. A lot of people are calling him a carbon copy of the Arctic Monkeys. I don't think that's true. They do have a very similar style, I will admit that, very similar songs, but they are their own band, and you can tell that. They are just using the inspiration of Sheffield's biggest ever band. With the Arctic Monkeys now going the direction they're going, it's actually nice to have a band which is similar to that, now performing very high energy sets throughout. So I don't see why people can't just appreciate both bands as they are. And also, just to end off, I just want to really hit home the crowd interaction that Johnny and the band did throughout. You could tell that it really meant a lot to them, and they were really thankful. I think that the band thanked us about 90 times for actually turning up. And it was just consistently, they were blown away by the reaction they were getting from us. And most importantly, they were blown away by the size of the scale of the band and the beast that they have actually created. So, honestly, couldn't recommend the Reytons enough, especially the K's as well, the support act. They're going to be playing arenas soon, I am certain of that. Finally, if you have enjoyed this video and you want to see me do a little bit more reactionary stuff, just let me know in the comments. If you are new around here, make sure you like the video, comment, let me know your favourite gigs, what you think about the Reytons and the K's, and most importantly, subscribe so you never miss an episode. This is a podcast channel as well, so check out on my previous podcasts I have gone on there. There's over 65 with people from the music industry, sport industry as well, comedians. There's lots on there for you to have a watch through. And make sure you follow me on my social media. It'll all be linked in the description. Just let me know if you want to see more videos like this. I've got a few gigs coming up, but I'd love to review there for you. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.